While building a crib for my soon-to-be-born son, something happened that shattered the illusion I thought was my life. I was in the garage, trying to make sense of a frustrating tangle of screws and boards, completely absorbed in the task. The garage door was cracked open for air, and from the kitchen window above, I could hear my wife Megan talking with her mother Bernice and my teenage stepdaughter Skylar. At first, I barely noticed, just background chatter. But then I heard my name. It's instinct to listen when your name comes up, and that one choice, just listening, ripped the floor out from under me. Megan was venting about the pregnancy, saying she felt overwhelmed, which seemed normal enough at first. But then, like a punch to the chest, she said she didn't love me. That she never did. That I was just a paycheck with hands. Those exact words. I remember them so clearly, like they were engraved in my skull. Her mother didn't act surprised. Instead, she nodded and said they'd get custody when he breaks. Like my collapse was an eventuality they were calmly waiting for. And Skylar, the girl I've raised like my own for the past decade, asked if she could spit in my food. Her tone was casual, like she was asking if she could borrow my car keys. I was frozen, hands on the drill, body on autopilot but mind screaming. I didn't stop building the crib. I didn't storm in or confront anyone. I just kept drilling, each screw driven in with more force than the last, trying to keep from completely unraveling. I finished the damn thing with a mechanical focus, the kind that happens when your soul steps outside your body and leaves you running on fumes. When I came inside, they acted like nothing happened. Megan smiled and asked if I wanted lunch. I thought about Skylar's question and nearly vomited. I declined, locked myself in the bathroom, and quietly fell apart. That was 6 days ago. Since then, I've been living in a carefully constructed performance, smiling, talking, acting like everything's fine, while my world collapses behind my eyes. I lie beside someone who sees me as a utility. I make food for a child who wants to poison me. I kiss the belly of a woman who plans to take my son away the moment she feels secure enough to do it. I've started making quiet moves. I've recorded conversations on my smartwatch. I've downloaded every bank statement, documented every instance of her lies, even created a backup folder online with everything I find. The trail is long, small transfers to a separate account, lies about working late while she dined out with friends, baby items sent to her mother's address, texts and photos that, while not proof of cheating, prove betrayal. We've had separate accounts ever since we got married, her idea, under the guise of independence. I didn't think much of it then. I supported her going back to school, bought Skylar everything she needed, managed all our major expenses. I gave without keeping score. And now, I know I was just a resource to her, a means to a more comfortable end. The hardest part is that Liam, my son, is the only thing keeping me grounded. I look at the woman carrying him and feel sick, but then I imagine holding him, raising him, being there for him. That thought alone keeps me from walking away without a plan. I have to stay smart. I have to protect him. Megan still texts me sweet things, asking about the baby shower, calling me pet names, planning a future she's secretly dismantling. It's surreal. Every night I lie beside her, forcing myself to be calm, to not give away that I know the truth. I need more time, more evidence, a strategy. When I think about Skylar, my chest tightens in a different way. I taught her to ride a bike. I stayed up with her through sickness. I bought her prom dress. All of it now feels like scenes from a movie someone else lived. She played the part of a loving daughter, but beneath that smile was contempt I never saw coming. A few weeks later, Liam arrived, early but healthy. The moment I held him for the first time, I felt an ache I can't describe. Joy and heartbreak tangled together. I cut the cord, smiled for photos, kissed Megan's forehead, all while silently crying in the hospital bathroom afterward. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. Since then, I've been executing what I jokingly call Operation Ghost Protocol. Quietly, carefully, I've set up my exit. I consulted a lawyer right after we got home. Cost me $1,000, but worth every cent. I've started diverting part of my paycheck to a new bank. Opened a rental across town, paid up 3 months, and have been moving items bit by bit. Clothes, important documents, anything that won't raise suspicion. I installed a hidden voice recorder in the nursery, legal in my state, and it's captured some chilling conversations while I've been out. Bernice talking about custody. Megan saying she wishes I'd just stop trying to be involved so much. Things I wish I hadn't heard, but now can't forget. But the worst blow came recently. I caught Skylar on camera, actually spitting in my coffee. Looked right at the mug, hawked one in, and stirred it. All with this smug little grin. The same girl I once carried on my shoulders through a carnival. I watched the footage 3 times to make sure I wasn't imagining it. I wasn't. Meanwhile, Megan plays the doting wife online. Posts smiling family photos. Tags me in mushy captions. The comments are all hearts and praise from people who have no idea what's happening behind the curtains. She's even been texting her mom, complaining that I want to hold my own son too much. Every moment is an act now. I get up for night feedings, change diapers, wash bottles, and do loads of laundry, while Megan complains to friends that I don't do anything. I play along, not because I want to, but because I have to, until the moment comes when I can leave and take my son with me. Because no matter what they see when they look at me, a wallet, a resource, a joke, I know who I am. I'm Liam's father. I love him. I will not abandon him. And no matter how broken I feel right now, I will not let them take him from me. Not without a fight. I leaned in close and whispered to him that I'd always be there, no matter what, that I'd fight for him, that one day he'd understand the truth. Then I gently laid him back in his crib and walked out, choosing to sleep on the couch because I couldn't bear to lie next to Megan anymore. My lawyer says I've built a strong case, enough to secure at least joint custody. Maybe more, considering the evidence we've gathered. Everything has been carefully planned, and now, finally, the timing is right. I've been waiting for the perfect moment to leave, and it's here. Tomorrow, Megan, Bernice, and Skylar are going out to celebrate Skylar's birthday. A full day, shopping, lunch, getting their nails done. They'll be gone for hours. They won't even notice what's missing until it's too late. While Megan was in the shower this morning, I loaded the last of my things into the car. Everything's ready. The moment they leave, I'll be taking Liam, his crib, baby supplies, and the dog. They won't realize I've been prepping the dog either, taking him to daycare more often to get him used to being away from home. The hardest decision has been about Skylar. I've raised her like my own for a decade. But I can't forget that recording. I can't forget her spitting in my coffee. That wasn't childish rebellion. That was malice. She's old enough to understand what she did. And though it tears me apart, I know I can't bring her with me. I wrote her a letter, tried to explain that I did love her, always had. Maybe she'll read it one day and understand. Maybe not. Megan's been asking why I've been so quiet lately. I tell her it's just the exhaustion from taking care of the baby. She has no idea what's coming. There's a twisted part of me that looks forward to the moment she realizes I was never the doormat she thought I was. That I heard every cruel word. That I was never blind. I was just patient. I keep going over my checklist, making sure nothing is left behind. Important documents, Liam's medical records, birth certificates, insurance papers. Everything that matters is packed. Funny how 10 years of marriage can fit into 2 duffel bags and a backpack. Is it wrong that part of me feels excited? Not just about getting away, but about finally breathing. About living without having to play the role of the fool. Maybe that makes me a bad person. Maybe I should have confronted her the moment I found out. But how do you reason with someone who sees you as a convenience, not a human being? All that's left now is to follow through. Once I've settled into the new place, I'll send Megan one screenshot. The footage of Skylar spitting in my coffee. Nothing more. Then I'll turn my phone off for 24 hours. Let them stew in it. My lawyer will reach out the next day with custody terms and divorce papers. That's the plan. Wish me luck. The next time I write, I'll be starting a new chapter, with my son, free from lies. It's been 3 months since that day. I wasn't planning on sharing another update, but so many people reached out asking how it all ended. And honestly, writing this helps me process everything that's happened. Liam is thriving. For months old now, already starting to babble. His cries fill the apartment every night, but I don't mind. Every time he wraps his tiny hand around my finger, I remember exactly why I did what I did. The day I left, everything went according to plan. I moved into a tiny 1-bedroom apartment with Liam, the dog, and whatever I could fit into the car. It's small, and the bathroom is laughably cramped, but it's mine. No one here calls me a paycheck with hands. I sent that screenshot of Skylar as planned and turned off my phone. When I turned it back on the next day, I had nearly 100 missed calls and over 200 texts. I saved screenshots of the first ones in a folder labeled "When I Need a Laugh." They went from confusion to fury to outright panic. Not one message asked about Liam at first. Not a single one. It took hours before Megan even mentioned our son. That alone said everything. My lawyer sent the divorce papers the next morning, along with the proposed custody agreement and copies of all the evidence, recorded conversations, screenshots, texts. That's when the real storm hit. Megan and Bernice showed up at my apartment that same afternoon. I still don't know how they found me, probably tracked my phone. They looked wrecked. Megan hadn't even changed clothes. Bernice looked pale, shocked, like the ground had just disappeared under her feet. I opened the door with Liam in my arms and gave them 15 minutes, with one rule: raise your voices around the baby and you're out. The conversation that followed was surreal. Megan begged me to believe she hadn't meant what she said in the kitchen, that she was just stressed, that Bernice pushed her into it, that she really did love me. Meanwhile, I kept thinking about all the times she said the exact same things when she thought I wasn't listening. Bernice, ever the strategist, tried to guilt me, then threatened me, then offered to pay my rent if I came back. So I played them the recordings. Their own voices filled the room. Megan saying I was just a paycheck, Bernice planning how to manipulate custody, Skylar gleefully talking about spitting in my food. I ended with the video. Megan collapsed into sobs. Bernice just stared. Then came the truth. Megan had maxed out 3 credit cards I never even knew about. Without my income, they were broke. Bernice had bet on me sticking around to support them all. They never saw it coming. After they left, I didn't feel triumphant. Just numb. Like I'd been running so long that when it stopped, I didn't know what to feel. The following weeks were a blur: legal meetings, adapting to single fatherhood, setting up a new life. The temporary custody agreement gave me 4 days a week, her 3. Handovers were tense. Megan would try to start arguments, but I kept it civil, focused on Liam, nothing more. Then, a few weeks after I left, I got a text from Skylar. She said she was sorry, said she missed me, wanted to talk. That message broke me in a way nothing else had. But I didn't respond. I couldn't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The betrayal still feels too fresh. When the court date arrived, my lawyer demolished their case. Every piece of evidence was laid out: recordings, screenshots, financial records. Megan's team tried to argue I'd set them up, that the recordings were illegal. But they weren't. Not in our state. The judge saw everything clearly. In the end, I was awarded primary custody. Megan gets Liam every other weekend and 1 dinner per week. She also pays child support. The irony still makes me laugh. The woman who called me a walking ATM now writes me checks. Megan had to move in with Bernice after they lost the house. Meanwhile, I upgraded to a 2-bedroom apartment with a little yard for the dog. I started therapy. I joined a group for single dads, and I've met guys with stories that make mine sound tame. Megan's changed too. Maybe it's guilt. Maybe it's strategy. But she's more present now during her limited time with Liam. She shows up. She asks how he's doing. She tries. I don't trust it, but I document everything. Just in case. Bernice still sends gifts with guilt-laced notes. I keep them all in a box for the day Liam's old enough to ask what really happened. He deserves the truth, not their version. The strangest moment came last week. Megan, during a drop-off, asked if we could try again. She said she realized what she lost. That she did love me, just didn't know how to show it. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Then I thought about the quiet peace in my home now. The security. The calm. I thought about never having to check my food. Never having to listen through doors. Never having to wonder who I really was to the people closest to me. I told her no. The look on her face when she realized I meant it. That was the moment I finally felt free. So here I am. A year later. Not the life I imagined, but maybe the one I needed. Liam's first birthday is coming up. I'm planning something small, just us and a few close friends. Megan will celebrate with him the next day. We're not partners anymore. We're not enemies either. Just 2 people trying not to mess up the one thing we got right. Thanks for listening, Reddit. I wouldn't have made it this far without you. Life is still messy, but it's honest. And for the first time in years, that feels like enough.